Yo, hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel again. My name is Adewale Yusuf, Microsoft MVP, most valuable professional in data platform. Alright, so in this particular video I'll be talking about how to use Power Pivot and pivot table in Excel to create a beautiful dashboard. And when I say beautiful dashboard, Excel can actually do a lot of things. You can do a lot of interesting dashboard in Excel as well. You just need to understand how to format your chart and your dashboard nicely. And that's what we'll be doing in this video, right? In this video, I'm creating a challenge for our analytical members and also everybody that would like to join the challenge. So in this challenge, you'll create a report in Excel, which I'm going to drop the link to download the data in the comment section. So you can actually download the data and start creating the challenge. And now you also need to follow me. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. So in this challenge, you kindly download the data and do your challenge. Once you're done with the challenge, post it on Twitter or LinkedIn, and then you can tag me actually on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Adewale Analyst, and on LinkedIn is Adewale Yusuf. Make sure you tag me on your challenge and let's review the challenge together so you can be more and more better in Excel. Thank you. Make sure you watch this video and don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's jump into the technical session. So we'll start with working on these two data. So if you look at this data, we got this data from cargo.com. There's the restaurant and the other data. So I'm going to open the two of them so you can see it. So I'll start with the other data. Then in this other data, this is the other data. This is how that look like. In this other data, I have the order ID, customer name, I have restaurant ID, I have order date, quantity, and the different columns here. And then the other table I also have is the restaurant table. So the restaurant table is a smaller table, right? So it has a primary key which I can actually connect to my order. So this is like the details of the restaurants, like the restaurant name, the cuisine, the zone, the category, the state, and the target for each lecturer. And look at this restaurant ID here. So this is what I'm going to use. This ID is what I'm going to use to connect to order. Order also has restaurant ID. This is what I'm going to use to connect. So I will start by connecting to those two files and start creating a report for them. And what I'm going to use to do that is something called Power Pivot. You know, there's something called Power Pivot in Excel, which allows you to create a data model. I have a dimension and I have a fact. So I want to use Power Pivot to connect to those two. So if you don't have Power Pivot on your system, you can go to File. Then from File, you click on Options. From Options, you will see Add-ins here, right? Then here under Manage, you can change your Excel add-ins to COM add-ins. Then once you click on Go, you will see the Power Pivot here. And mind you, Power Pivot was launched in 2010. So if you have a 2010 upward, you'll have Power Pivot. So you can tick all this and click OK. Then you should have this. All right. Now, what I want is to connect to this data. So I'll click on Manage, Power Pivot, and it's going to show me the interface for Power Pivot. Alright, so this is the interface for my Power Pivot, and I want to get two data into this. I want to get the order data and also the restaurants data. So I have from database, I have from data service, and I have from other sources. So from these other sources, I'm going to click that, and the data I want to pick is from Excel. So I'll click Excel File, I'll click on Next, and then what's the path of my file, right? I'll click on Browse. I'm going to go to where this file is saved on my system. I think I save it somewhere under Analytic Corp as member date set, project 1, and I'm bringing order first, right? Now click Open. Then this is very important. Use first row as headers because I want to use the first row as header in my report. Right, so I've connected to order data, so I'm going to connect to restaurant. So I'm going to click on from order data source, and I'm going to look for Excel here, Excel, and I'm going to do Next. Then I'm going to browse. And then I'm going to look for restaurant data. So this is restaurant data. Now click on restaurant data. Click on use first row as header. Don't forget this. It's very important. Use first row as headers. Then I'll click Next, and then I'll tick the restaurant details that I want. I'm going to click Finish. So my restaurant details is successfully loaded. I'll click Close, and then All right, so here I can see my order data and I can see my restaurant data. You can see the two files here. All right, which make a lot of sense. So what I need to do now is to connect them together. So what I'm going to use is the restaurant ID here to the restaurant ID here. So I'll go to diagram view, and then from my diagram view, I'm going to link the two together. Look at this. Now you have to be very careful when you're using diagram view, right? So you're not connecting the wrong fields to each other. Remember what I said, I want to connect this restaurant ID to restaurant ID. So I'll do that. You can see a connection. Is this? So when you hover a mouse on it, you'll be sure that you are not connecting the wrong thing. Right now I'm connecting restaurant ID to restaurant ID. Right? Then once I'm done with this, I can either come here and say save. Right? And then I can just save this file as restaurant project 1, and I'll click save. Alright, so I have saved this in my Power Pivot, and you notice that it did not load this file to Excel, right? Because I didn't load it to Excel. My file is on PowerPoint. It's on Power Pivot rather. So when I go to Power Pivot, I will see all the files here, and I can start creating reports from here. Okay, so now that we have successfully connected data to the Power Pivot data model, so the next thing is to start creating a report. And if you notice, right, you can't see the table here because this is a connection. So those tables are just the connections only, and then your Power Pivot. All right. So I'm going to go to manage. Look at this. I'm going to go back to Power Pivot, and I'll click on manage. Once I click on manage, I'll be back here to Power Pivot. All right. And at the top here, you can see pivot table. So I'll select pivot table. So you have pivot table, you have pivot chart, you have chart and table horizontal, you have chart and table vertical, you have two charts, you have two chart vertical, you have 4 charts, you have flattening pivot table. So I just like to use ordinary pivot table, right? And then once I click on that, I'll prefer to use a new worksheet. Use a new worksheet, which is the sheet 2. And this new worksheet, I can see the two data here, right? So you can see the order data and you can see the restaurant data. So the first report I would like to create, right, is I'll try to create all the total report, just totals, different totals I would like to create. So the first thing I would like to do is to know my total order amount. All right, so under order here, I would also like to change this to this field so that it will be easy for me to look at all my fields. All right. So here, I think I want order amount. So if I tick order amount here from pivot table, you will see that this will go here. This will go here, and right here I can say the total order amount. So I can right click on this and say number format, and then I want to format this as currency, and I don't want any decimal. And I'll click okay. So right there I have $299,000. Okay, that's for my order amount. Now I also like to know the transaction count, to also count that transaction. Right, so here you can see that I have the order ID, so I can also drag the order ID here, but this time I'm not going to use just count of order ID. You can see this is counting order ID. So when you click on value field setting, you will see the different options of calculations you can do with pivot table. So there is sum, there is count, average, max, mean, distinct count, and all that. All right, so if I do count is what I want actually, and this is showing me there's 500 transactions inside this. So I can rename this guy, I can rename this as order amount, right? Order amount, and this is my let me change it very well. Order amount, and this is my transaction count. All right, so that's my transaction count. Okay, and the next thing I will do, I would also like to create another total, which is like total quantity, right? So you see quantity of item here. So once I click on this, I also have my sum of quantity items, so I can rename it and I'll call it quantity items. All right, and then the next total I would also like to see is the average delivery time. What's the average delivery time? Average delivery time, the people deliver on time, and what is the average? So you can see there is something called time taken, delivery time taken, right? So once I put this here, it's going to give me sum as a default, but remember that's not what I want. I want average. So I'll click on this and click value fit setting, and I'll change this to average. And right now you can see average delivery time, that's 30 minutes 58 seconds. So I can change this to AVG delivery time, average delivery time. Right, and I can also format this if I want. I can say maybe I want number format for this. I want only just one decimal, and yeah, just one decimal is fine. And for this one, I can do the same number format, and this is also number. I don't want any decimal for this as well, but I want to use 1,000 separator. Okay, so I have this 4 total. I also need the average customer rating. So what's the average rating the customer has been giving us? So I have a customer rating here, customer rating delivery and customer rating food. So I can either take either of them to say is the food that the customer rate or delivery. So let's look at that delivery. So I added customer rating delivery here. Remember, I also want average. So I'll come here and I'll change this to value fit setting. I'll change this to average. I'm going to rename this as well. Say AVG customer rating delivery, right? So once I click OK, and I can see our rating, right? 2.9 is what our customer is rating us. I can also do a number format for this. On that number, reduce this to one separator, right? One decimal point, and then I'll click OK. Now, these are the totals that I need, and then I would like to show this total in my dashboard later, so I'll show you how to do that later. So the next thing I can also do is to create another pivot table. I can either do something smart, maybe just by doing a copy and paste of this here, or I can just go back to manage. Let me just show you the two ways. I can just go back to manage, and for my manager I can click pivot table again. I'll click pivot table, and right now I'll do an existing worksheet, and I'm going to click here, right? I'm going to click inside here, and I'll click here. So let me delete this. I'm going to click here. Okay, I think something is blocking my screen. Alright. Okay, so since I've created my pivot table successfully and I'm done with this one, so to create another one, I can decide to go to manage, and from manage I'll select pivot table, and then from pivot table I'll just take an existing worksheet. And right now I don't want here, so I want something here. Alright, so since I'm done with this one, I can decide to just do a copy, right? So look at this. So this is an easy way to just create another pivot. So once I create a copy, I just copy and paste this. That's what I do, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So here I can remove some things that by just dragging it out like this. So by just dragging it out, I'm just dragging it out, so I don't want all this again. I'm trying to create another type of report. So the report I would like to create now is kind of simple. I just want to create a report that shows category and order amount. So inside my order details, did I have something on category? No. But inside my restaurant, because they are all connected, I have category here. So if I tick category, you will see this report here. And aside from seeing the order amount versus the category alone, I would also like to see the percentage, right? So I can see it at a glance what percentage is each category contributing to the order amount. So I can just come here and drag order amount again. So I'm replicating order amount. Do you see this? And then I'm going to change this to percentage of grand total. So in pivot table, right, there's a lot of calculations that you can do inbuilt calculation. So when I right click on this number, there's something called show values as. You see this? Show values as, and I want to show this value as percentage of grand total. So I click this, and it will change this to percentage of grand total for me. So I can rename this and call this percentage. Okay, so that's report number 2. Now I have 9 reports I would like to create, all right, and I'm just starting. I just have 2 out of 9. So I'll copy this again. Let me copy this again and then paste it down here. So when you are copying and pasting formulas, right, you need to be sure that this pivot table is not extending downward, because if it's something that is extending downward, or you have a larger category next time, it can be an issue. But because as it's extending, your pivot table may have an issue. So I always advise people, when you want to put a report on one page, it's advisable to just put them on the horizontal, line them up like this. So I'm going to put this here. So let me line it up. I'm going to put this here, and this order, this is not what I want this time. So the report I want this time is to show restaurant by their amount and their target. So I'm going to drag this out, and I'm going to drag category out as well. So what I want to show restaurant by order amount. So my restaurant is inside my restaurant details. So I'll take restaurant name. So here now I have my restaurant name and the amount. So what I would also like to see is the restaurant target. Now in the restaurant details, I have a field called target there. So I'm going to click that, and then I should have both my amount and my target. But remember, this is not filtered. So I can right click on this and say number format, and I can format it as currency, right? And say no decimal. Click OK. So I can rename this as target. So this is what I would like to see here. My amount, my restaurant, but I can even rename this row label as restaurant. So this is my report number 3, right? Report number 3. Now my report number 4. It's kind of simple too, right? What I would like to create, I want to create a report that will show hours, just an hour, then month-to-month transaction count, and month-to-month order amount, so that I can see the trend of my orders, how people have been ordering from me. So I can decide to copy this as well. Remember, you can copy and paste pivot table and use it for something else. So I can paste this to the side. Remember, I'm creating it horizontal now, I'm creating it side by side. So this one, I don't need restaurant here, and I don't need target here, but I think I need order amount. So I'll go here and select my order date. Now look at this. Order date is what I have. I don't have hours, but the report I said I want to create is hourly trend to see how my date is moving in terms of hours, right? So once I tick order date here, then you can see that my order date goes to column now. So that was a mistake that most people make. So what I want is this to go to row. So I'm going to untick this. I'm going to untick all this, all right? And I'm going to drag this order date to rows instead, so that all this hierarchy can be created in rows. Now, for the people that are using Excel, which is the lower version of Excel, you are not going to see this, right? What I can see now is this report breaking into hours, minutes, and dates. And what I want is really hours. Okay, what I want is the hours, not the minute and the date. So I can drag order date out, and I can drag minute out, so I can see just the hours. That's what I need. But for people that are using Excel 2013 downward, right? So when you drag your report here, it's going to show something different. So let me show you something. I'm going to do this. So this is what you're going to see. For people that are using Excel 2013 downward, this is what you're going to see. And when you see this, don't panic. There's a way to solve this problem. So what you need to do is to right click on this date and come to group. So when you click on group, you see second, minute, hour, day, year, and quarter. So you need minutes, you need month. I can leave month there. I can say just minute and hours. And once I click OK, you will see your hours and your minutes down here, your hours and your minutes down here. Then you can now drag your date out, drag your minute out, then leave only the hours. So this way I can see the hourly trend. Now I have my order amount. Remember I said I want to do a month-to-month trend. I want to compare, sorry, I'm saying month-to-month, hour on hour trend. Hour on hour trend. So I want to compare this hour to this hour, this hour to this hour, as this been changing. So how to do hour on hour, right? So to do that, it's kind of simple. If you want to use Excel normally to do that, you write a complex formula. But with pivot table, it's kind of easy. I just want to see the percentage different from the previous hour. So once you right click on this, you see show values as. Then under show values as, you see percentage different from. Percentage different from is what I want to use. So I'll click on that, and I'll come to base field. So base field is as, right, which is good. And base item is saying that what do you want to compare by? So presently it's showing 1 o'clock. That do I want to compare by 1 o'clock? But no, I'd like to compare by previous. So I want to compare each hours by previous hour. So once I click OK, you see that the percentage difference will show here, and this is not showing anything because there's no previous R. Alright, now let's do the same thing for transaction count. So I'm going to carry my order and put it here. Remember, this my order is going to bring, order ID is going to bring count, so I'll rename this as transaction, and here I'm going to right click again and do percentage different from, show values as, then you see percentage different from. Now my base field is previous, now click OK. So now I can see the percentage different from for both of this. So this is my report number, is that 5? This is report number 5. Right, 1 2 3 4. No, that's report number 4. Okay, so let me create my report number 5. Okay, so I'm going to copy this also and just come here and paste. So my report number 5 is kind of simple too. So what I want to see is how is this restaurant doing in terms of cuisine, right? How is the amount doing in terms of cuisine? So let me drag all this out. I don't need them. So I'm going to go to order amount and I'll take order amount, right? I'll take order amount. Then from my restaurant, I'll take cuisine. Right, so I want to see how this is doing by cuisine. So I can change this back to amount, order amount, and then I can do a number format for this. Number format, currency, and no decimal. Now click OK. Alright, so this is cuisine, right? I can see how this is doing by cuisine. Meanwhile, this is let me change the edits on this. This is this heading is our percentage change on our percentage order amount. Okay, so I can also change this to our percentage transaction. So I'm just naming it correctly, right? It's going to name your report correctly. So I have the report number 5, and that's cuisine by order amount. Now, aside from just having my month-to-month transactions and hour and hour, sorry, I don't know why I keep saying month-to-month. Hour and hour order amount and hour and hour transaction. I'll let create another report. So let me copy this and paste it here. But this report this time, this one, I just want to see just my hour and the other amount, right? I don't want to see it in hour and hour percentage change. So I'm going to drag this cuisine out and I'll go to my restaurant. No, other data I mean. Now I have the hour here because I've already created the hierarchy in the first place. So I'll drag my hour here and I can see this. So this is what I just want to achieve. Restaurant by other amount, right? That's my report number 6. Now report number 7, it's kind of interesting, right? So I just want to create state by order amount. That's my report number 7. So I'm going to just copy this as usual and paste it here. And then this report number 7, I'll drag the order ID out. And from my restaurant details, I'm going to take state. Now I can see in my report based on state. These are all the states available, right? That's my report number 7 checked. Now the last but not the least, I'm creating 8 reports. So I said 9. No, let me create 8. So I'm creating 8 report. Now last but not the least is the next report that I want to do, and that's report number 8. So let me copy this and also go to the other side and paste. So my report number 8. My report number 8. Right, my report number 8. So why I want to do report number 8 is just I want to see the report by mode of payment, by other amount, then percentage of grand total. So to do that, I'll just drag out the state, and from here I think I have mode of payment somewhere here. Yeah, payment mode. So once I click this, I'll see cash on delivery by all the amount, and remember I said I also want other amount in percentage of grand total. Okay, so I'll just drag other amount again. Remember the way we do it, and I'll right click on this and say show values as percentage of grand total. So this is percentage, and I'm kind of done, right? I'm done with my 8 report. So this is how to create reports seamlessly with Power Pivot. in pivot table in Excel, right? All right. So now that I'm done with my report and all the report I want to do, so the next thing for me to do is to start creating a dashboard, putting all this interesting report together on one page, right? One report page. So I can go to sheet 1 here, or open another sheet, and I'm going to name this sheet dashboard, right? Not spelling the board right, dashboard. All right, so the next thing for me to do is to come here and switch off grid lines and headings, right? Grid lines and headings from a view tab. So go to your view tab, you see grid lines and headings. Please switch it off so that you can have this your page looking interesting, like what you can see on my screen. So this looks like what maybe we're still going to switch up the formula bar, but we're not doing that now. So let's just go ahead and start creating something. So the first thing I will do is to turn this entire sheet into black. So what do? Click on anywhere and do Ctrl A to highlight everything. Then from your home tab, you can come here, you see this highlight color. So in this highlight color, change the theme of the color to black. No, so for me, I would like to use black for my background. So for you, when creating your challenge, you are not limited to using the only color that I use in my own dashboard. You are at liberty of picking any other color, but you need to understand that you need to pick a right color when you're picking a color. So I will advise when you're picking your background color, you can pick between black, maybe deep blue, maybe deep maybe something very deep. Just make sure you pick something very deep, right? And don't pick red and green, right? Leave those two colors for variances. So I'm going to pick black color. So once I click black, you notice that all my Excel screen has changed to black. So the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in a shape up here. So this shape is going to be like my header. So I'll go to insert. From insert, under illustrate, I will see shapes. So this shape, I can bring in this particular shape, this rectangular shape. Okay, rectangular shape. Then I'm going to draw it across here. Just draw it across up here like an heading, right? Which is what I'm going to do. Okay, so after drawing this shape up here, let me bring it up a little bit, and then okay, so I'm going to bring it up. So I'm just trying to arrange my dashboard right now, and I can reduce the size. Actually, I think the size is kind of too big. Okay, so this is okay. Now this color, I don't want this color. So under my shape format, you see shape format, immediately you bring your shape, the shape fill, the shape outline. So for me, I don't want any outline, so I can say no outline here. And then for shape fill, I like to pick something close to a very deep blue, right, which is this one. So I'm just going to pick this deep blue. Okay, so this is looking interesting. So now I need some icons actually. So Excel also allows you to bring icons. So if you go to insert, under your illustration as well, you see icons, or insert icon from your insert. So I'll go to icons and I'll bring like 3 or 4 icons from my icon. So here we'll see all the icons that are available in Excel here. So you can bring any icon of your choice. So for me, I'm going to bring this guy. I think I love this guy. Maybe I should bring this guy, and I'm going to bring something like maybe something related to order or something. I don't know. So maybe I should bring this guy as well. This guy as well. I can also decide to bring some other icons, but I think I also need to bring in home icons as well. So let me bring in home. Once I type home here, I will see any icons related to home by just typing home. Okay, so I can see this guy. So I'm going to pick this guy. So you can see 3. So currently I'm selecting 3 icons. All right, then I'm going to click insert. Alright, so once I click insert, I will see all my icons here, but currently they are not showing anything, maybe because the default is black. So I can go to graphics fill here and change them to white from here, and then graphic outline to none. Okay, so now I have all my icons. So what I need to do is to just select them one by one and take them to where I need them. So for the home, I'll reduce the size a little bit. And I'll put it here. I can reduce the size more. I think it's too big. I'll reduce the size more. Yeah, and I'll take it here. So just put it here. So I can zoom my screen just in case the icon is too small for me to carry. You can zoom your screen. So I'm putting this guy here and I'm reducing it more. So I'm using size 0.024 both height and width. So let me reduce these guys to give me 0.024. Okay, so this is kind of similar. So if you don't want to stress yourself, you can actually go to height and width and set up your icon size there. Now that I have my icons, the next thing I would like to put is a text box, just to give like a title to what I'm trying to create. So I'm going to bring a text box here, and I'll draw the text box over here, and I'll type analytics Corp challenge. Analytics Corp challenge here. So after typing this, I need to also go to shape format. So remember, shape format, you always come here most times. So I don't need any line, and then shape fill, I don't need any fill as well. And then text color, so this is the text color, so I can change the text color to white. I think white kind of makes sense. And then I'll bring it up here, just up here, so I can reduce the shape. Okay, so from my home, I can see the different fonts that I want to use, but the default is always okay, so I'll leave it as default. And I can just type Analytic Corp Workshop here. I can reduce the size if I want to, but right now I don't need to, so I'll leave it at Analytic Corp Workshop. Now for this icon I put here, I also need to type something. So at the end of the day, I want to have 2 pages. All right, but in our first challenge, it's going to be only 1 page. So this is our summary dashboard. This is our summary, and I'm going to put summary here. I'm going to put summary in front of this icon here. So I can just do this guy here, so it can take my so it can take my summary up. And I'm just doing a kind of formatting, right? So I also duplicate this guy, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I'm typing others inside here. Now I have my icons here. Now just to show that I'm in a page, I'm in summary page, I can bring another shape here, maybe this shape. So I'll make it very tiny and very small. It's very small shape. And I can go to shape outline, say no outline, then shape fill. So just to show this, so I can put something like maybe very light blue, maybe this blue, maybe very light blue like this. So this is just to show that I am currently on this page. So you can decide to use another color actually, so you're not limited to using my home color, but just be careful of the color you use, and then make sure you're using any color that correlates well on your page, right? So I'm going to use that blue. And then since I have this, so the next thing for me to do is to start creating my dashboard as well. So I would like to put another text box here just to talk about what I'm doing actually. So here I will just put another text box, and I'm typing the name of the dashboard itself. That's restaurant order, let's just say restaurant order dashboard. Okay, so remember, always use your shape format a lot. So in my shape format, I'll say outline, no outline, shape fill, no fill, Then from my home, I can change the font color to white. White kind of makes sense. Then I can increase the font size. All right, so and I'll put it here. Well, this is kind of too big, and the font also, so maybe I should change the font of this to something else. So I can use maybe agency or Abadi. Nope, I think I should use agency maybe, or should I use Adabi? Let me just use for any font that makes sense. I just need a tiny font. This Amasis kind of makes sense too. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So let me look for any tiny font. I want a tiny font, a font that's not too bold. That's the font that I need. So you can decide to choose any font of your own choice, so you don't have to follow mine strictly. So I think I like this Abadi Extra Light, so it's kind of very tiny and very okay. So having this on my dashboard will kind of makes sense. All right, so let me do size 28. Okay, so now that I have this on my dashboard, so I'm trying to manage my real estate. So this is just me preparing my dashboard to say this is how I want my dashboard to look like. Now the next thing I would like to do is to bring a number here actually, but the first number I want to bring, so let me just rename this sheet 2 as report, so that you know we have report and we have dashboard. So the number I would like to bring I would like to bring all this my card first. Just bring all this card up here, right? Just bring them into my dashboard. But in a pivot table, you can't copy and paste like that. So there's a way all shapes in Excel work with Excel. You know, shapes, everything in Insert is not actually Excel. They are just tools that work with Excel. And then the translator between your anything in Insert and Excel is your formula bar. So let's say, for example, I want to bring this order amount, right? I want to bring this order amount to my dashboard. The best way for me to do that is to just go to Insert and click on text box here and draw a text box. Alright, so in this text box I'm going to click the hedge because I don't want to type inside. So once I click the hedge, I'll go to the formula bar, look up the formula bar here, I'll type equal sign. So this is like me linking my text box to my report. So equals to, I'll go to the report, click on this number 299. Yeah, and once I do that, you see the number here immediately. So, and this is not me typing, this is just linking. So I can increase the number. Okay, I think that's too big, so maybe I should use 20. Let me use 28, and then the color, change it to white. I'll go to my shape format, remove the shape fill, and remove the outline. I don't want any outline as well. So I'll take my value here. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce this. So this is my value. So I'm going to put it here. So this is just me trying to do some kind of design, right? So I also like to name this number so people will know the number that I put here. So I can duplicate this one. And call it cumulative order amount. Cumulative order amount, and I'll reduce the size of this one very well. From my home tab, I'm going to reduce the size to maybe 12. Right, so that's 12. And if we reduce this more to 11. Alright, so I'm creating my dashboard small. So I have my cumulative order amount down here, so which is like what this is like. Okay, so I also like to create a slicer, right? You know, you can create a slicer. So I didn't talk about slicer in all my reports. So in the report, you know, in pivot table, right? When you create a pivot table, let me show my feed list. So when you create a pivot table, there is something on that pivot table called filter, right? I explained this in one of my video. So this filter down here this filter is something you can actually, the filter up here is something you can actually use something else to do, which is something else called slicer. So I'm going to click on this my pivot table, and I'll go to pivot table analyze. Under pivot table analyze, you will see something called slicer, insert slicer. So I'll click on insert slicer. All right, then I'll bring up a slicer called I think I have something under restaurant, not under order. So maybe I want to create a slicer under restaurant. Okay, so let me see, let me start from here, and then because I don't have any data related to restaurant here, so maybe I can start from this place and say insert slicer, and I'm sure I should be able to see both my, yep, so I can see my restaurant details now. Okay, so I will just come here and select zone. So zone is what I want to start with, so I'll create a slicer called zone. And my slicer is here, boom, right? So to link this slicer with all your reports, all the reports inside your pivot table, once you right click on it, you will see report connections, and on your report connections you will see all the pivot table that you have in this report, so you can actually link your slicer to it. So this way you know your pivot table is working with every single report you have in this workbook. So that's what I'm doing, just linking this slicer to all my pivot reports, so that when I bring those reports to my dashboard, this slicer will be able to filter them. All right, so now that I have my slicer here, the next thing for me to do is to take this my slicer to my dashboard. So I'm going to cut it, just do Ctrl X, remember the shortcut, and then I'll go to dashboard and paste it with Ctrl V. Okay, so on my dashboard I have this, but I would like to design this. I don't want this to look like this, so I'll go to slicer. There's something called column under slicer, so you have to count the numbers of values you have inside your slicer. 1 2 3 4. I want to make it horizontal, so I'll change this column to 4. That way it will change this my slicer to horizontal. Look at this, right? Look at this. This is just me dragging. Okay, and another thing I would like to do is to also remove this heading. So under your slicer setting, you see slicer setting here. So once you click on slicer setting, you see display header, right? You can untick the box and the header will go. All right, that's another beautiful thing. And I can bring my slicer here. Now what I usually tell people is that the default slicer design doesn't really make a lot of sense, so you may need to some kind of design your own slicer. So to design slicer is kind of simple. So when you want to design a slicer, under this slicer style you will see something called new slicer style down here. When you click on new slicer style, it will bring up this for you. You can say my style, you can decide to name this your style, so you can use this anyhow you like. All right, so I want to start designing the slicer. So my old slicer, so what color do I want my old slicer to look like? So you can come here and say format. Once you click format, you will see this format slicer element. So here, how do you want your border to look like? Do you need any border? So for me, I'll say none. And is there any fill color you like? So the pattern color here is automatic. That's the old slicer. Okay, and then maybe I'll change this to black if I want to, and I'll click OK. Now the header, what do I want to do with the header? Nothing. So since I don't have any header, selected item with data. When you select an item with data, what color should it have? So I can click this just to change the color. So once you are selecting a slicer, maybe I would say it should just show maybe gray or something close to white. Then the border as well, maybe no border. Then the font, so the font should be the normal font, and then the Calibri is fine. The color of the font should now be, let's say, black. That's the selected item. Okay, now selected item with no data. Selected item with no data. So I can leave that for now. Unselected item with data. So how do you want that to look like? So for this one, I would like to change the font colors to white, and I would like to change the unselected color, my unselected color, to this blue, and border to no border. So I don't want any border. Now click OK. Now unselected item with data, maybe no. So there is over selected item with data, there is over whatever. So I can also set this as a default slicer for this document. So once you click OK, let's look at how this is. So I'm going to select this just to change the style of my slicer. And once I select this, do you notice that it's changed my slicer to what's it called? Once I select something, it's now white, and the font color there is black. The unselected one is blue, and the font color there is white. Okay, so the next thing I need to get rid of is this white background. So I can right click on this my slicer again and say modify. So under this modify, I'll come to this my old slicer format and change this to no line. I think I've done this before. And the color of this to, let me just change this to black, and the fill color to also black. Let me click OK, and I'm going to click slicer header as well to black, fill color to black, and I'll click OK. OK, and I'll select this again. So to change the color, I'll right click background color, I'll right click on the slicer again. I'll click on modify, and from here I'll click the old slicer format, and I'll go to the background here and select black. So the background here should be black, and I'll click OK, and then now click OK as well. So my old dashboard the background should be black. And remember, the background of the slicer should be the same background you used for your Excel background. That way they can all blend together, and then when you hover your mouse on this slicer, you can also set what color they should bring out. In fact, you can see once I'm hovering my mouse on the slicer right now, it's just being black. So I can go back to slicer, right click on this and say modify. So I'll say over selected item with data. When you over on selected item with data, the font color should be white, and the fill color should be maybe, let's say, maybe yellow, right? Okay, I'm just doing it yellow. And then over item with no data, I will do the same thing. This should be yellow, and the font color should be white. Click OK. So this is me setting up my over data. So over on selected item as well. When you over on selected item, so it should give me white, and the fill color should be yellow. So once I click OK, over on selected item with no data, yeah, let me just click OK here. So once you over your mouse on this now, can you see what this is bringing right now? So that's the yellow I selected and the white, and yeah, so that kind of makes sense. So that's how to format your slicer. So now that I've formatted my slicer, once I select anything here, the cumulative number should change, right? So my dashboard is getting there, and you can select one of them again so that you can control select it. So you know you're not selecting anything. Now you're selecting all when you control select. So this time I'm selecting all. Alright, so the next thing for me to do is to start creating some other report, which is all my card basically. So I will start creating another card, and I'll go to insert again, select text box. I'm going to put the text box here, and this text box I want to link it, so I'll click the edge, not inside. I'll click inside my formula bar and say equals to the next one, which is transaction count. Okay, transaction count, and I will hit enter. Okay, so just quickly before I forget, for some of you, when you reference your pivot table and it's giving you get pivot data dot something, okay, so you know what you need to do is to switch off those get pivot data. And how do you do that? You go to pivot analyze, then under your pivot analyze, you will see your pivot table option here, pivot table option. Then you see this guy checked, generate get pivot data. So you need to switch it off. And how do you switch it off? Just click on it. It will be ticked like this. Okay, it will be ticked like this. So once you click on it, then it will go away. All right, and it says no longer ticked. So that way you'll be able to reference your pivot table easily. Okay, so since I have this now, I'm going to change the shape format to shape fill to no fill, and then the shape outline to no outline. I'm going to go to the home tab, change the font color to white, white, yeah, and I'll increase the size a little bit. Okay, so once I increase this size, now I have my transaction count. So transaction count is the first thing that I brought here, but I like to do a shape just to design this thing a little bit. So I can go to insert and just bring a shape here, just one shape here. All right, so this is the shape, and I would like to change the color of this shape to something close to black, maybe something gray. I'm using something close to black, and then the outline is no outline. I don't want any outline. So this is something close to your background color, okay? And I'm putting this guy inside. This might through that transaction count. Okay, now can you see that that is backward? So you can right click and say bring to front, since that's where I want to bring that to front. And once I have this, I can just bring another text box and type transaction count. So I'll go to insert again, go to text box. So this is me doing a lot of work, and I'm sure you guys are going to do a lot of work like this too. Transaction, let's say trans count. Okay, trans count, go to shape format, remove the background, and shape outline, no fill. And I'll go to home tab, change the font color to white, and put it here, trans count. So I can reduce the size of this one so it's not the same with my original one, and I can even change the font if I want to, so the font is different from the actual number. So this is transaction count. You can even write it in full if you want to. Transaction count. Okay, so that is it. So I'm just aligning it perfectly to this place. I can centralize it and take it up to this. Let me expand this so the count can come. Okay, so I have my transaction count. All right, and another thing I can do if I want to is I can bring shape to this. So another icon to this. When you go to illustration again, you see icon, but this time around I'm not bringing the bowling icon, which is the what I mean by bowling icon is just the black and white icon. So you can actually get stickers as well. You can even get illustration, and all these are from Excel. You can get stickers, you can get illustration like this, you can get images if you want, you can get cartoon people if you want. So the one I'm going to bring is simple. Let me just look for something, right, just for the sake of this demo. But you guys can look for anything interesting when you are doing your report. Since I'm doing some kind of count, so maybe I can bring this maybe I should bring this book. Okay, selected something, this one. So I'm going to bring this book, and I'll bring this. There are so many things you can bring actually. Just check stickers, check people. If I go to stickers now, you see different things as well under sticker. you scroll down, you see different things. So maybe you can type something here as well, just to help you on whatever you are looking for. But for me, I'm just going to insert, so because of recording sake, I will just click insert. And this is my icon here that I brought. So I'll reduce the size very well. Reduce the size very well. Okay, so this book, just put it by the side here. And reduce the size more if you want to, just to fit it in perfectly. Alright, so what's the next thing to do? Just to group this guy so I can duplicate it and use it to do the others. So I'll group this guy with the icon as well. Right click on it and you see group, and I'll say group. Okay, once I group it, so it's easy for me to do copy and paste. So I'll do copy and paste for this other one. So inside this my 500, I'm just going to go to report C. I'm just going to do equals to report, equals to go back to report and select the next card quantity of items. All right, so change it to white again, increase the size. So what's the size of this one? It's always good to maintain the same size, so that's 16. So change this to 16 as well. And this is quantity of item, quantity of items. Okay, so I can change the icon of this if I want. So just delete this one and put this other icon here. Oh, that one is backward, so I can right click and say send this to back. Okay, so this guy can come here. And I can group this guy with all others. Right click. I'm going to select this guy with this and group. So I've done like 2 cards. So, and here, how many cards do I have more? I still have like 2 more. So it's easy for me since I have these 2 already. So I'll just click on it, Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and I'm going to just click on this guy, equals to next report. Go here, select the next one, average delivery time. So make the color white and make the size 16, since 16 is what we've been using. And I'll change this to average delivery time. Sorry. Average delivery time. Alright, so I'm going to bring another card to paste the last one. As for the last one. Alright, so guys, you can actually change the icon of yours to have different icons. So just for me, for the demo sake, I'm just using only 2 icons for this. So you can go to insert and check any other different icons that you may like. This is average customer rating delivery. So change the color back to white, make the size 16, average customer rating, average customer rating. Okay, so then the next thing to do, right, is to use something called alignment very well in Excel. So I'm going to select all these four, and under my shape design, shape format, you see something called alignment here. So this is sorry, this is rotate, and this is alignment up here. So I'll say align top, so that all of them can be on the same page. And if I want to distribute, I can say distribute horizontally. That way they are all on the same distribution. They all use the same distribution. Okay, so I've aligned it top. Let me just align it top, align top, just align top, and yeah, and that is it. Okay, then I have my card lined up here. So what I would need to do next is to just group them together. So this way it will be easy for me to drag them around. So let me select them again. Now group them. Yeah, correct. So they are one group now, and I'm done with that. Okay, so the next report to do, right, is since I'm done with this one, the next report to do is this one. Okay, but for this particular report, I want to create something, let me say something interesting. So if I go to insert, right, I can highlight these two. So since what I want to do first is this row, and I want other, so I can go to insert. Here you see different charts. You see different chart here, chart of your choice. So I want this particular chart. There's this particular chart that I want. I want it to be just one chart. Okay, so not this one, sorry. Let me go back. Insert. That's my line chart, and I want this one. Okay, I want this one. Right. So, but this particular chart, I just want to see the pro and the. So I'll remove this feed button. So this is called feed button. So you right click on it and say hide all feed buttons on chart, and I'll also remove this guy, this legend, right? So I don't need it. So I remove the legend. I don't need the grid lines as well. So I can come to this plus sign. Anything you don't want here, you can remove it. So I can remove grid lines. So, and I need to also right click on this chart and make it something else. So change chart type. Under my change chart type, what I want this bar to look like is different. So I want to some kind of switch it. So the next thing I'll need to do is to start with my next report, and then my next report basically is just this pro and ordinary. So this pro and ordinary, so I need to bring it into my dashboard. So the way I will do that is by using shapes too. So shapes is actually very good when you're creating dashboard, and you need to use shape a lot of time. So I'll draw a shape here, and this shape I'll just link it also, and this is because I'm trying to do a table view in my visual. So select ordinary, and I have this ordinary this way. So let me format it. Shape format, shape fill no fill, and shape outline no outline. And I'll go to home tab and then make this white and increase the number to 12. So I have ordinary here already, so I'm going to duplicate this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So, and I'll put this down here, and this will be B12, since ordinary is next to the next one. So this is pro, so this will be B12. I'm just putting this guy here, and now I'm doing another shape. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So I'll put this one in front of it, and this one, so the first one is going to be the value for this one, and since they are using reference, so this B will be C right now to give me the value, and then this will also be C as well. I'll change the color back to white. Now I also have percentages, so I'll just copy and paste this as well. So this is going to be ABCD to give me the percentage. Change it to white. So for this one, I mean to copy and paste also, and this is going to be D as well. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, so the next thing for me to do is to arrange this guy nicely. So I'm going to select everything, and for this one, the third below, I will just go to shape format. You see my alignment here, so I'll say distribute horizontally and then align top. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for this guy and this guy. So distribute horizontally and then align top. Okay, so this way they are all on the same page, and then it's looking nice and clean. Okay, nice and clean here. So what you can do, maybe just to make it better, is you can put a gap between those numbers. Put a gap. So this and this guy and this guy, they are not on the same page, so I'll just align them correctly. Say align left. Okay, so they're all on the same page. And this guy and this guy, align it left as well. Align left, so they are on the same page. And this guy and this guy as well, align left, so they are all on the same page. Okay, so I think I have the ordinary like twice, so let me go and delete one of it. Okay, so I would like to put like just like a bullet, right? So bullet is good too. So for that, I like to put a bullet in Excel. So the way you do the bullet is kind of simple. So you can use shape as well. So I'll just go to insert. This time around, I'll bring the circle. I'll hold shift to draw a perfect circle. Very small one. When you hold shift, your circle will be perfect. I'll change the fill color to red, and I'll change the shape fill to no fill. You can zoom it just so that you know it's perfect. You can zoom to it in case your shape is too small. You can just zoom to it, and that's zooming in Excel. That's what I just did. So I just zoom so that I can see this shape very well. So I'll hold shift and then increase the size. So this is me just zooming, and I'll do Ctrl C, Ctrl V again to have another one down here, which I'm going to select together and say align left, right? So they're all on the same page. Now look at this. So I have this table. So I have this small table. This is me just zooming to this, but I would like to put like a progress at the top of this table so I can see how this chart is moving. So I can go to my report. So here I can reference this table. I'll say equals to this guy, this ordinary guy. I'll drag it to the right. Sorry, I'll just drag this to the right like this, and then drag this down just to give me the same thing, but this time I can also use a shortcut, Ctrl D for this one and Ctrl R for this one. So this is just to show me the same thing up here, because I want to use this for another chart, and that's why I'm bringing it here. So I'm going to highlight it, go to insert, select this bar chart, this second one, right? This second one here. And then once I select this second one, I can go to chart design. You see switch rows / column. When you click on that, it's going to switch and give you this. Okay, so I'll go to my plus sign, remove the axis, remove the chart title, remove the grid lines. So it's kind of plain like this. Okay, and the only thing I'll need to change is the color. So I'll select the color here, right click and say format data point. Format data point. So this is where you start choosing your color. So for me in this dashboard, I prefer using blue and purple. So I'll go to my buckets, fill color, and then the fill color here is solid color. So I'll change the longer one to this purple, and the second one to this blue, light blue. I think I'll choose this kind of light blue, or there's another type of blue that you can also choose. So you can choose this blue as well. So this blue makes sense as well. Okay, so but you have to note the color you choose, or you can go to the color market and try and bring some colors that you want. And once you bring that color once, it will always be part of your colors. You always see the color here. But for me, let me just pick this blue design. Okay, so that way I will reduce the chart. I'll reduce the chart very well. You see the way I'm reducing it, and I'm going to take it to my dashboard and paste it here. Okay, so here you're going to see my chart. I'll reduce the size, reduce the size. Okay, and this is how my chart looks like. So the next thing for me to do is to just go to chart design, remove the background, we'll go to format. Here you will see the shape background. So theme colors, I'll say no fill. So, and then the outline as well, I'll say no fill. No fill for the outline as well. I'm going to drag this across here so it can fill up my, let me pick it up also. Okay, so this way when I'm clicking my slicer, you see the highest, right? Ordinary and pro, ordinary and pro. So you see the highest between ordinary and pro. So you can decide to put some kind of something just to identify the ordinary and the pro. You can decide to do that if you want to. Okay, so let me reduce my screen back. Yep, reduce my screen back. So I'm done with this now. With this my second report, which is this report here. So I can delete this chart here since I brought it here. Now the next chart I have here is my restaurant. So restaurant versus order and target. So how do I create restaurants versus order and target? Okay, so to create that report, I'll click on here, which is my restaurants versus amount and target. So I'll go to insert. I'll come to this bar chart and pick this first one, this 2D bars, and I'll right click on this button and say hide off it buttons on chart. Remember, I don't like that button. So this my grid lines, I'll remove it. Then the legend, I'll say top. Once you click the front tick in front of legend, you can pick top, and I'll drag it to the left here. All right, I'll drag it to the left here, and I'll bring a title. Let me just bring a title, chart title from my plus sign, and I'll take the title to this place. Bring the legend down a little bit, and in the title I'm going to type restaurant. Restaurant orders amount versus target. Okay, so now that I've done that, the next thing for me to do is to change the color. So I can also increase this place so that my chart can be very well. Now I like to change the color. Remember, I'm using two colors in my dashboard. So I'll right click and say format data series. I'm clicking on one of them first. So I click on one of the bars. So I'll come down here, change the color of these red bars to that my blue type, remember, and the second one to my purple. Okay, so which is this, and I'm going to reduce the slide a little bit, and this is my axis down here, so I think I prefer to remove the axis and just not just the O axis actually, so it's just this down axis, so you can click it and just press delete and it will go away. Then I can come here and do data label, and inside of my data label I will just say put the label inside, put it inside the bar. And now that I have this, so I can make it bigger so that I can see the label very well. You can see the label very well, and you can see that the bar is kind of tiny. So when you go here as well, you can change the size of the bar. So I can make the bar width maybe 0%, the bar width, no, but not to 0, let me add like 60, then overlap like, no, not I'm going to take overlap, I'll make it 8%, and the gap width should be just a small percent. Maybe I should do 70 for the gap width. For the gap width. I'm still trying to edit my so maybe I can make this one. I'll also change the size of this one to maybe we just do overlap to 19. I'll just do 204, and this should be 0. So I'll make this 0. So that's for the purple. Now the blue. We make it the same thing. Okay, so that way I kind of have my label. So the label, I can click on it and then reduce the size, change the color to white, the other one also, change it to white and reduce the color. Okay, so I'll take this to my dashboard, paste it here. I'm going to click on this heading, reduce the color as well, change the color to white, and I think I need to edit there. Yeah, so for the main chart itself, I'll go to design, I'll format and I'll do no fill for the chart. Then no lines. So down here, I'm going to put my chart below this one. So let me close this. I'm zoom my Excel in a little bit. So I'm going to do this now here. Okay, so this is me increasing the chart. So I'm just increasing the chart. I can increase the chart area so that the bars can be bigger. And take this guy here. Okay, so it's not really easy to design charts, but you just have to. So I'm changing this color to white as well. So I'll select it and change it to white. All right. So once I click something, it should affect is my bars now. This is what I'm trying to do. For my, I think that's too small. The data label is too small. Just going to do size 10 for that, and the second one to 10. All right, so I have the restaurant order versus amount down here. Okay, so I have that there. Let me reduce it a little bit. It's kind of too big. Yeah. So I'll increase the legend as well. Okay, so look at this. I'm trying to just make sure we have everything sorted. Okay, so I think I'm getting close. So the next report that I have here, let me delete this since I've taken it to there. So the next report I have there is this restaurant versus this is like a month-to-month. So I'm going to do a line chart for this guy. I'll go to insert, pick a line chart, just a normal line. Okay, so now this is my line chart. I'm just going to design it by removing I'll remove the icon, hide of it buttons on chart, take the grid line off, the legend should go to the top. I'll also, so if you look at this now, so this is like a trend of the legend already. So I would also like to work on the line. So when you click on each of the line, I want to smooth it. So if you right click on it, you see format data series. I'm starting with the first line. So the first line, I'll make it smooth. You see smooth down here. I can reduce the size of the width to 1.5, and I can change the color to our color. So purple first. Okay. And the next one, I'll click on it, change this color to my blue, not the blue that I'm using, and then smooth it, and also reduce the width to 1.5. So the next thing I'd like to move is this guy down here. You see this label, this thing here, this 11, 12, 13, 14. It's called label. So under your format axis, you see labels here. Expand label and come down to label position and change it to low. That way it will come down and then your chart can come nicely. So let me try through, and then I'm going to say hourly percentage change in orders and transaction, right? hourly percentage change in orders and transaction. Okay, so take it here and take this guy below it. Just carrying the shape and make it big. Okay, I'm going to cut it, take it to my dashboard, paste it here. Okay, so I'll remove the background. I go to format, that format, come here and say no background, no fill, outline as well, no outline. Now I need to change everything here to white, so I'll go to my home tab, change this to white, select this one, change it to white, select this, white, and this also to white. So yeah, another thing I can get rid of, so for this particular one I can remove the line color to no line, so that way it won't show any line. All right, okay, so I'm done with this chart as well, so I can bring it down here. I'm almost done actually. I think I have like 3 or 4 reports left. Okay, so this one is here. Now the next report I have on my dashboard is the restaurant by order amount. Okay, restaurant by order amount. I thought I have restaurant by order amount before. Restaurant by order amount. Okay, so this is cuisine by order amount, not restaurant actually. So cuisine, so this is like cuisine, if I remember. So if I show fit list, let me check what I'm doing in my pivot table. Yes, it's cuisine. Okay, so I'm going to do shortcut for chart, Alt F1. You can do Alt F1 just to be a shortcut for chart, or you can either go to insert and just select a chart of your choice. So I want this chart, right? I don't need this total. I'll just click and delete. I'll right click on this one, see idle fit buttons on chart, and I'll come to my plus sign, remove the grid lines, add the data label to it, and I'll click on this tick in front of data label and say inside end. I'll click this. I don't want to see this since I have data label, so I'll remove it, and I'll just put a title to say order amount by cuisine. Amount by cuisine. So I'll take this here. So let me bring this chart to my dashboard, paste it here. I'll go to my design, format, remove the background, say no fill, outline also to no fill, text color to white. Let's go to change everything here to white. Okay, so I have this here, and I can use the blue that I'm using. So format data series, and I would like to use that blue. Come to fill and buckets, come down here to your solid line and change this blue to the one I've been using. So this one. Which one have I been using? Which one? I think it's this one. Okay. All right. So now I'm getting close. Okay, so let me go to the next report. My next report after this one is just restaurant by order amount. So I would like to use line chart for this as well, or another type of line, area chart, this one. Okay, so I'll remove the total here. I'll right click on this and say hide or fit buttons on chart. I'll take this guy here and name it, say hours by orders a month. Okay, hours by orders a month. Now I don't want the grid line, so I'll remove it. I'll remove the grid lines. I'll also remove this since I want it as a trend only. So for this one now, I'm going to format it. I would actually can say format data series, but because I already have my format data series on, so I'll just come here. So instead of having my border like this, I can come to fill as well. Then under my fill, there is something called shadow, glow, soft edge, and then 3D format. So I'm going to put a shadow. So I'll put this off shadow, and I'll make the shadow blue. Right, I'll increase the transparency and the size of the shadow. So the next thing I also like to do is to make it glow. So I'll pick the outside glow, which is this one. I can pick this glow. Okay, so I'm just making it glow, that's all. And what's the color of my actual shape? My usual color. Right, and I'll copy this, I'll cut it, go to my dashboard, paste it, go to format, remove the background, say no fill, remove the outline no fill, and change everything there to white, or font there to white. Alright, I'm going to reduce this color. I'm going to reduce this chart to something. Put it here. So I'm not sure I can see my other numbers. So what happened? Does my axis go away? My axis is there, but I can't see it. Oh, okay. So I can kind of see it now. But I don't want this one here. I remove it, and okay, so automatic, and this is to white. Go to my home and change the color from here. Okay, so I'm just trying to change the color of my chart, so let me make it smaller. And change the color of this to white. And these two also white. Okay, so maybe I'm going to put this as well. Just for the white to come out. Alright, so I have this here, somewhere here. I'm just arranging my charts the way I want. So I can also do a format printer of this to this, so that way it's kind of easy. But reduce the size of this. Okay, so I'm not sure I did the blue of this correctly. This is not the blue that I'm using. Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting there. I'm going to go to my next report. Okay, so my next report is restaurant. So this is like a state by amount. So in this particular one, I would like to use a map in Excel, map chart in Excel, right? But map does not work with pivot table. When you go to insert and you select map, it doesn't work. You can't create this chart type in pivot table. So the best thing for me to do is to bring this map out. So I'll create a column here. I'll create a new column here to the side. Let me create one more. Create a column here to the side, and from here I will just say state. I'm just trying to do state and order amount. So here I will say equals to, so maybe I should have the list of all the states, right? So I can have the list of all the states here, then I can do something like a lookup. Okay, something like a lookup that will just show me everything. So I'll go and deselect this, control click it, so I can see the list of all my states. I'll go back to report. So this is the list of all my states. All right, so I'll just copy the list of all these states here, and then come to my state, paste this here. I'm going to paste it special value, and I'll do a VLOOKUP equals to VLOOKUP. I'm looking for this from this table, or I highlight it like this. All right, from this table. Okay, I'll lock it. F4 to lock. But if you're using entertainment laptop, you need to press Fn and F4, comma, I want the second column, and then comma 0 to return exact match. Now hit enter. So once I do this and I drag it down, so it's going to return all the value. But the problem that we have is if I select a zone here, that will now filter. If I select a filter here, once I select a filter, it's going to filter my state. Now some of them will return FA, non-applicable. All right, so you can decide to do something called if error. But let's look at how this is going to look at on our map first. So I'm going to right click this, highlight this, go to map and do a map. Now inside my map I will have something like this, okay, which is kind of makes sense and which is what I want. So that means I don't really need to even do any, so I can leave the any there. It's just not applicable, and it's not going to affect anything. Okay, so I can do different formatting. This is one style now that I can pick if I want to. So there are different styles of your different style for your map. So you can look at different styles here. You can come down here just to see some other style inspiration. So if I click this one, let me cut this and then take it to my dashboard. Okay, so because I picked the one of that, so it's kind of okay. So that's stayed by, I can even remove the chart title, so everybody will know this is Nigeria. I can remove the chart title. If I want to change the legend, you can try to change the legend, put it in bottom if you want to, or put it aside. Maybe you should put it in bottom. What do you think? To this my I like to put it to the left. I think the left kind of makes sense, so it doesn't reduce my map too much. So I have my map here. So I think I need to move these two charts down now, since I have something else there. So just moving it down to create a space for my map. Okay, now I'll move this guy down as well. Alright, so I'm almost done. Now let me see how many reports I have left. So I'm done with the map. So the next report is this one. Okay, just one report more. This is the most technical one, right? And this is the one that will give you the scatter chart and everything nicely neat and then very okay. So you need to pay a lot of attention to this new one that we are creating, which is this last one we are creating. You have to pay a lot of attention. All right, so let's look at how we are going to create that, and how do we create it to make it more to look